And I'm Dick Pust in Olympia. KGY News, it's 6:05.
Campaign ads on this station claim that a State Department of Revenue report gave the county assessor's office a top rating. What you weren't told is that a more recent Department of Revenue report tells a different story. Taken from the public record, this newest report shows that of 139 properties reviewed in the last revaluation area, almost 3 out of 4 were overvalued by the assessor's office. Overvaluation means overtaxation. If you want fair and equitable appraisals, vote for Don Taylor for county assessor.
Paid for by the committee to elect Don Taylor assessor, GOP, Bob Soley, chairman.
Sam Reed believes the key to a successful democracy is voter education.
Under Sam Reed's leadership, a comprehensive system has been developed to provide you with voter information. Sam Reed started a nationally recognized elementary school program to interest young people in government and the election process.
I'm Sam Reed, Thurston County Auditor. I'm dedicated to working with everyone in Thurston County to increase voter participation and awareness.
This message from the committee to retain Sam Reed, Cindy Huff, Treasurer, GOP.
It was a quiet and relatively uneventful Halloween in Olympia this year. Local law enforcement personnel say there seemed to be fewer youngsters out trick-or-treating last night than in previous years. Olympia Police Department jailer Tom Holmes says he booked only one person into the city jail last night compared to 11 last year. So far, at least, there have been no reports of tampered candy or fruits. Parents are advised, however, to take a careful look at the items their children brought home from their rounds last night. 2 people were hospitalized in separate automobile accidents in the Olympia area last night. Olympia police say that shortly before 8 o'clock, a car driven by 23-year-old Tammy L. Worthington of 5040 Donovan, Olympia, pulled her car out of the Pit Stop grocery parking lot on the Boulevard Road and was struck by an oncoming car. Worthington was knocked unconscious. She was taken by ambulance to St. Peter Hospital, where her condition this morning is listed as fair. A passenger in her car, 31-year-old Les L. Salzer of 1309 Prospect, Olympia, suffered assorted facial cuts but was not hospitalized. The driver of the other car, 19-year-old Rodney E. Boring of North Puget, wasn't hurt. Both cars were extensively damaged. Another injury accident occurred shortly after 11 o'clock, about 4 miles northeast of Olympia on Martin Way. The State Patrol says 35-year-old Joe Bell of 38th Drive Southeast Lacey received possible back and neck injuries when his car struck a vehicle which pulled in front of him while attempting to make a U-turn. Bell is listed as in fair condition at St. Peter Hospital this morning. The driver of the other car, a Gig Harbor man, wasn't hurt.
Hi, I'm Stu Halson, Democratic candidate for state representative. Let's talk about unemployment. Over 10,000 people in our area have lost their jobs. Unemployment is the highest since the Great Depression. Something must be done. I support legislation to get our timber and construction industries back on their feet and bring new job-producing industries to our area. We must help small businesses, not just giant corporations. I ask for your vote November 2nd. Let's get working again.
Paid for by Friends of Stu Halson, Democrat. Melissa Valls, Treasurer.
This is Mike Watson, Secretary-Treasurer of Thurston County's Labor Council. One of the many reasons that the Labor Council voted to support Ann Clifton's re-election as our county assessor is that Ann is working to prevent the shift of taxes to working people by being sure that the coal mining operation in the South County pays its fair share of the tax. The tax savings to the rest of us will be $1 million over a 4-year period if Ann Clifton wins the court case that she's fighting for us.
This is Ann Clifton. I will appreciate your vote and your support on Tuesday, November 2nd.
Paid for by the Ann Clifton Campaign Committee, Democrat, Diane Oberquell and Herb Legg, co-chairs.
Thurston County Commissioners will continue their public hearing on Weyerhaeuser's Hawks Prairie proposal tonight. The initial hearing on the subject drew more than 150 people last Tuesday night. And temperatures in Olympia during the month of October were about average, but there was a little more rainfall than usual, according to statistics kept at the National Weather Service office in Tumwater. University of Washington football coach Don James knows he won't see his Huskies ranked in the number 1 or 2 spot they have occupied for weeks. He says the goal of being the top-ranked team went out the window after Saturday's 43-31 loss to Stanford. Cardinal quarterback John Elway says the victory was probably the biggest of his career. The Huskies are 4-1 in the conference and 7-1 for all games. Stanford improved to 3-2 in the Pac-10 and 5-3 overall. Next Saturday, the Huskies have another tough game hosting UCLA. Arizona football coach Larry Smith says he wanted his team to dominate the Washington State Cougars Saturday. It did by a score of 34-17 despite near freezing rain at Pullman's Martin Stadium. Washington State coach Jim Walden says Arizona was just too tough for the players that he has left. Seattle Supersonics beat the San Diego Clippers last night, 127-109. Jack Briggs has more sports.
If you're a football fan, this could be the week. The negotiators are in New York, and it appears they have achieved more in the last 2 days than in the previous 40. AP Radio Sports Director Dave Lebeski is in New York, and he's got the update for us.
If the NFL players' strike, which has already affected more than a third of the season, is going to be settled, it's going to be settled here at the New York talks. For the first time since the strike began, management made an offer to the union. It was a reported 4-year, $1.28 billion package, but a union official said it did not address 3 crucial union demands. Protection for veterans, the union right to collectively bargain for incentive bonuses, and a percentage of the TV revenues. Player representatives from around the league have been called in. The union had a counter-proposal on the table, currently under the scrutiny of management, as both sides still a long way apart, inch closer together. From the football talks, this is Dave Lebeski in New York.
The 26 baseball owners will get together in Chicago today. The purpose, take a vote on the future of Commissioner Bowie Kuhn. Right now, it's a very good bet the controversial baseball czar will be fired. Today's Baltimore Sun reports that the Orioles have dropped the name of John McNamara as a possible Earl Weaver replacement. The paper quotes a source as saying the team wants a man with closer Baltimore ties. It looks like Doug Rader has the job as field boss of the Texas Rangers. The team has called for a press conference this afternoon. NHL yesterday, Vancouver stopped Edmonton 3-2, Buffalo 3, Montreal 1, the Rangers over Pittsburgh 6-2, and the Flyers beat the Winnipeg Jets 3-2. NBA, Milwaukee 119, Cleveland 95, the Pistons 118, Indiana 115, and Seattle stopped San Diego 127-109. Jack Briggs on the sports line.
Weather for the Olympia area, mostly sunny today with a high in the mid-50s. Take a look at that moon set right now. Good morning, I'm Dick Pust. It's 6:12. Ed Michelson has more news in 15 minutes.
Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you. Baby, you're the best. I wasn't looking
Oh, baby, you're the best. Nobody does it better. The Spy Who Loved Me. That was Carly Simon. 6:15 on a beautiful November 1st morning. The big full moon that we have is now slipping behind a cloud on the west side. Actually, it's starting to slip out from behind the cloud again. But it'll be setting here pretty soon, dropping behind the trees there and gone for another day. Going to be a halfway decent day today, mostly sunny after morning fog. The high in the mid-50s, low tonight in the low to mid-30s. Winds will be southwesterly at 5 to 15 miles an hour. A 10% or less chance of rain. Yesterday's high was 54, 40 was a low, and we had 0.20 of an inch of rain in the past 24 hours. The extended forecast is for basically more of the same through Wednesday, with a chance of rain Thursday and Friday.
When you have to get a package to the airport fast, express it. Capital Air Reporters Air Express service will get your package to and from SeaTac in a hurry. 10 trips daily will save you time and money. Call them at 754-7113. Capital Air Reporter Charters and Tours. And Ralph's Thriftway in Olympia and the Lacey Village Thriftway are the stores that take pride in being your complete center for all your back-to-school food needs. Fill your lunch pails from the proud crowd.
What would you say if I told you Thurston County can get more with less?
I would say we have an excellent chance of getting a lot more. This is Kay Boyd. Les Eldridge has the leadership skills to manage county services and solve problems. Cooperation between industry, labor, education, and community groups must be stimulated by local governments. As a member of the Lacey City Council, I am looking forward to working with Les on intergovernmental projects. I'm voting for Les Eldridge on November 2nd.
Paid for by the Les Eldridge for Commissioner Campaign, Democrat.
Who are you voting for Thurston County Sheriff?
I'm voting for Dwight Caron for sheriff.
Dwight Caron? Why?
Well, Dwight's the most qualified candidate. Over 23 years in law enforcement and his years as Thurston County's chief criminal deputy, Dwight has the experience and ability to do the job.
But what about the incumbent? I've seen his ads. He says he started great new programs in the past 4 years.
Yeah, I saw those ads too. He claims to have initiated a drug crime unit, a major crimes unit, and a canine unit. Yet all those programs were established long before he took office.
Well, what has the incumbent done in 4 years?
Almost tripled the budget. He spent $3,500 on a drug sting operation that flopped. He's taken deputies off the road and put them in the jail.
Hold it! What about the things he has accomplished?
Well, who are you voting for sheriff?
I think it's time for a change. I'm voting for Dwight Caron for sheriff.
This is Dwight Caron, and I'd like your vote on November 2nd. Paid for by Citizens for Caron for sheriff, Democrat, Elmer Landers, treasurer.
Seattle Supersonics beat San Diego last night, 127 to 109, 6:18 at KG1.
Girl, tell me only this, that I have your heart for always, and you want me by your side, whispering the words, I'll always love you, and forever I will be your lover, and I know if you really care, I will always be
And then a nice song, Truly, Lionel Richie. 6:21 at KGY, looking at the school lunch menus for today. In the Olympia and Griffin districts, it's corn dogs. At North Thurston, it's school-made burritos and Mexican rice. In Tumwater today, they're serving enchiladas. And if you have lunch at one of the senior centers of Thurston or Mason counties, it's chicken tetrazzini. And speaking of good food, you can't beat this place.
Nothing like rising with the city still. Fresh eggs cracking on the grill. At McDonald's. Canadian style bacon is sizzling along. We're melting cheese on a muffin. Come on, come on. Nothing like an egg McMuffin. Puts breakfast right in your hand. Nothing like an egg McMuffin. A hot buttered muffin. Fresh egg with Canadian style bacon and cheese. I'll have an egg McMuffin, please. Pick it up and take it to go. Or sit down and eat it nice and slow. 'Cause you deserve a break today at McDonald's. Yeah, nothing like an egg McMuffin. Nothing like it.
I don't think I can comment on Mike Kreider's signs.
Running for the legislature requires some special skills. We visited with Republican candidate Bill Randolph recently as he was making some campaign signs.
Mike's politics are very, very bad. Mike has a way of voting, yes, to just about anything that will get him more votes next time.
Good signs, bad politics.
Absolutely.
Paid for by the committee to elect Dr. Bill Randolph, Nancy Catola, treasurer.
His signs really look pretty good to me.
Your strong, effective voice in the state legislature is Mike Kreidler.
Dr. Charles Keck of Olympia is a medical professional. He knows the community health issues. Mike Kreidler is a legislative leader on health care programs. That's why Dr. Keck supports Mike Kreidler for re-election.
This is Mike Kreidler. This message sponsored by the Friends to Re-elect Mike Kreidler, State Representative, 22nd District Democrat. Thank you for your support.
I like our thought for the day. People do not lack strength. They lack will. Ed Michelson has a look at news right after Linda Ronstadt.
She's a very lovely woman, but I think you better turn it down this time. 'Cause she's used all of her charms on you soon, things you left behind. Really loves you, thinking of you, oh man, friend. She's a lovely woman, lovely woman. And now she wants you to forget the things it took us long to get and find. And go away with her again and follow her and sit and drink her wine. Make your mind up, will not wind up life in sin. She's a lovely woman, lovely woman. And oh, even though she's lovely, her world is ugly, so go back no more. For all that she has to offer is not enough.
incumbent auditor, who was rejected by the voters in his bid for county commissioner in 1980, is hoping you've forgotten his repeated threats to quit if you won't pay him more money. Judy Goodman is a Democratic candidate for auditor. Her priority is service, not salary. It's time for a change.
Judy Goodman, Democratic candidate for auditor, endorsed by the Federation of State Employees, Local 443, County and City Employees, Local 618, and the Thurston Lewis County's Labor Council.
Congressman Don Bonker and Jolene Unsold, co-chairs.
The preceding
Hi, I'm Mason Manning, your candidate for position 6 on Olympia's new city council. I'm not a professional politician. In fact, my only political experience has been exercising my right to vote. But I do offer practical experience. I am a graduate engineer and have successfully managed my own local construction manufacturing business. This experience will be a tremendous asset to the City Council in its many construction-related duties.
Protect your investment in Olympia. Vote for Mason Manning, Position 6, Olympia City Council. Paid for by Citizens for Mason Manning, Dewan Weaver Bowen, Treasurer.
It's 6:27 at KGY. Time for an update on the news with Ed Michelson. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Dick. The Marines say an American serving as a Lebanese peacekeeper was slightly wounded in the hand today when a car bomb went off near a U.S. camp in Beirut. The Americans say 2 Lebanese were injured in the blast, but a Lebanese army official says one of the Lebanese was killed. The political careers of California Governor Jerry Brown and former Alabama Governor George Wallace are among those on the line tomorrow when voters cast their ballots. Brown is vying for a seat in the U.S. Senate, while Wallace is trying to become the first person to be elected to a 4th term as Alabama's governor. Well, first it was an intruder in the Queen's bedroom. Now in England, it's the theft of a cabinet minister's pants that has raised concern about lax security.
The man in charge of Britain's economy had his pants stolen over the weekend. Sir Geoffrey Howe, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, was riding on a train from Manchester to London Saturday night when someone got into his compartment and lifted a pair of his pants. In the pockets was a pile of money totaling more than $150. Conservative lawmaker Jeffrey Dickens says he plans to find out how a government minister could be so loosely protected.
We've got to be a bit more serious. We mustn't have these sort of breaches in our security arrangements on these odd times. It happens to be funny. We can all have a laugh about it, but it may have been very, very serious indeed.
Howe was not hurt in the incident, which apparently happened while he was asleep. Brad Calfeld, London.
Here at home, 44-year-old Melvin Foster of Lacey says he's looking out for himself now. Foster says King County Police have been following him for the past 6 weeks as part of the investigation into the Seattle area slayings of 6 young women. Local authorities report a quiet Halloween in the Olympia area. Across the state, there was at least one incident in which a pin had been inserted into a piece of Halloween candy, but the Kent child involved was not seriously hurt. 2 local residents are listed in fair condition at St. Peter Hospital this morning following separate auto accidents last night. Hospitalized in the unrelated accidents were 23-year-old Tammy Worthington of Olympia and 35-year-old Joe Bell of Lacey. In sports, the Seattle Supersonics beat San Diego last night in NBA action 127-109. The weather mostly sunny today and tomorrow with fair nights, highs in the 50s, lows in the low to mid-30s. Winds will be southwesterly 5 to 15 miles per hour. The rain chance 10% or less through Tuesday. I'm Ed Michelson, KGY News.
Do you feel any more rested up this morning, Ed, now that we've gotten that extra hour of sleep back?
No.
I think I do.
I don't ever feel real rested when you get up at 4:30 in the morning. I felt rested yesterday.
I'm used to getting up at a certain time in the morning, and so this morning I felt like I was oversleeping before my alarm finally went off. No, just one of those things.
Yesterday seemed like a very long day.
Yes, it did, didn't it? It's 6:30 in Olympia, and we'll have Dave Bryan and Capitol Report in 60 seconds.
Don Eldridge will be an outstanding Thurston County Commissioner. Don Eldridge will bring a voice of experience, integrity, and common sense to the courthouse. Don Eldridge is the only candidate with proven leadership ability. He's been tested by fire and has met the test. Don Eldridge is uniquely qualified, the right one for county commissioner.
This is Don Eldridge asking for your vote November 2nd. Paid by friends of Don Eldridge, Republican, Marilyn Coble, Treasurer.
This is Tom Allen, Thurston County PUD Commissioner, asking for your vote for re-election. As PUD Commissioner, I believe in representing all the people of Thurston County, not a special interest group. I also believe in accountability to the public. I would not use the PUD's power to tax without public input and approval.
Vote to re-elect Tom Allen, PUD Commissioner.
Paid for by the Committee to re-elect Tom Allen, PUD Commissioner. Tom Sahlberg, Treasurer.
In our last report, sponsors of the Bottle Bill initiative argued that their measure will help reduce litter in Washington state. Coming up, opponents argue that the measure will force consumers to pay more when the state is already doing a good job of fighting litter. This is Dave Bryan with Capitol Report, a twice-daily feature of KGY News from the Capitol. More in a moment.
The spirit that's alive in us is different from the rest. We take the time to know your needs, to give our very best. It's people that we care about in everything we do. We'll help you make the most of life. We're working hard for you.
If your money isn't earning what it should, come see us at Puget Sound National Bank. We know how to make it work harder. Our investment certificates give you a high return, short-term or long-term. Or you can choose from 4 different individual retirement account plans that let you defer taxes today while saving for a secure tomorrow. Or if you want to save regularly, open a savings account with automatic deposits. We're working hard to make your money work harder for you at Puget Sound National Bank.
Everything you want a bank to be.
Member FDIC.
What's the best way to fight litter in Washington state? Sponsors of Initiative 414 say the answer is their measure, the so-called Bottle Bill. But opponents of that proposal say the state would be better off sticking with its Model Litter Control Act. Initiative 414 would require a minimum 5-cent deposit on all beer and soft drink containers sold in Washington. It's the third so-called Bottle Bill to go before voters. The first 2 were rejected. The opposing group is called the Committee for Litter Control and Recycling, an organization heavily financed by container manufacturers, soft drink makers, breweries, bottlers, and distributors. In our last report, sponsors argued that the measure will reduce bottle and can litter in this state, but opponents argue that the state already has an excellent cleanup program under the Model Litter Control Act of 1971, a law that requires industries to pay a special tax if they make items that become litter. The money is used to pick up litter and promote recycling. The spokesman for opponents is former State Ecology Director John Biggs.
Bottles and cans are no longer a factor in litter in this state. In 1971, they were. They represented 22% of litter. But progressively, since that time, the state's litter control program has reduced bottles and cans. Until now, they are only 4.2% of litter.
Sponsors say their measure is meant to complement the act by targeting the most unsightly and hazardous litter, bottles and cans. And they say those types of litter are still a problem in places like parks and beaches.
One of the most effective areas that our law has addressed itself to are beaches and parks. I think that the argument has no foundation of any kind. I have seen no figures and know of no figures that indicates that parks and beaches are in a worse litter condition than our other public areas.
Biggs feels the measure will prompt many people to switch to grocery stores to return their empties, which will hurt recycling centers that depend on bottles and cans for most of their business. And he says that will also change the recycling habits of consumers.
We've attempted to interest them in recycling anything that's recyclable. I feel that if they have to start taking bottles and cans to one place because they've paid a 5-cent deposit on it, that they will tend to neglect the newspapers and all the other things that make up a total recycling package.
And finally, Biggs feels the initiative will mean higher prices for beer and soft drinks.
Initiative 414 provides for a 2-cent handling charge, which a retailer can impose on any thing that is returned to him. So that in itself is a built-in 2 cents per container price increase. Additionally, retailers have indicated very strongly that they can't handle these containers for 2 cents and that they will have to add to their prices the increased handling costs.
Dave Bryan, KGY News.
A political announcement sponsored by Carboni for council. Revitalizing downtown Olympia is important, but we must not neglect the neighborhoods. They deserve good streets, adequate police patrols, and opportunities to influence proposed developments. This is Gil Carboni, candidate for Olympia City Council position number 3. May I have your vote on November 2nd? That's Carboni, not Carbone. Perhaps you've seen my signs.
Endorsed by Local 443, Federation of State Employees, the Thurston Lewis County's Labor Council, and the Washington State Council of County and City Employees.
Who is the best qualified candidate for position 6 on Olympia's new city council? Mason Manning. Why? Well, Mason Manning is a family man with 20 years business experience and a commitment to Olympia.
Paid for by friends of Mason Manning.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Standard Time. It's 6:36 on a Monday, first day of November. called The One That You Love. Glenn Fry on KGY. It's 6:41 on a day before Election Day. It'll soon be all over. Thank goodness, huh? About this time every 2 years we get a little tired almost of the election campaign. I'm sure the candidates are too. You'd think they'd be exhausted from all they've put into this. Some good candidates out there to vote on tomorrow. You can make your choice. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Don't forget, tomorrow is Election Day. Starting November 1st, the Olympian serves up news hot off the grill at noon. The same great menu of features and coverage, but now have lunch with an informed friend. The noon edition available at newsstands everywhere. Starting today, you can call the Department of Transportation's Snow Line for the latest mountain pass conditions. The number is 943-4600. Write that down somewhere. 943-4600. You can call anytime, 24 hours a day.
Need vinyl? B&R Sales in beautiful downtown Lacey has incredible savings on Tarkett Gas Star vinyl. Think floor covering. Think Tarkett Gas Star. Think B&R Sales. Why should you vote for Wilma Rosbach? Wilma knows the solution to problems in our state will come with economic recovery. During the last session, Wilma sponsored bills to help the timber industry and provide immediate jobs in logging and sawmills. She supported legislation to promote tourism, to help port districts attract new industry, and to help cities and towns grow through tax incentives. Wilma works for us.
This ad was paid for by Citizens for Rosbach, Republican, Bob Thompson, Chairman.
This is your County Treasurer, Harris Hunter. I want to thank all of you for helping us in doing our job for all of you these past 8 years. Our record for wise investing of your monies in local financial institutions helps our local economy. My academic training and years of experience have given to the office a reputation for integrity and efficiency. I would appreciate your support when you go to the polls. Paid for by Committee to Re-elect Treasurer Harris Hunter, Democrat. Dean Cullenber, Chairman.
Jennifer Belcher has a reputation for excellence, and it's a reputation she's earned.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Belcher. The Northwest environment is important to me just as it is to you. We can't let special interests undermine the protective regulations we've worked so hard to put in place. The quality of our environment is one of the factors that attracts new business to our state. Our livelihood, as well as our good health, depend on keeping the quality we have now. The environment should be a concern of every person who lives here.
Paid for by Jennifer Belcher for State Representative, Democrat, Barbara Olson, Treasurer.
Well, if you watch a certain television program, one that's very popular, you'll recognize this music. It's by Bill Conti. It's the theme from something. 6:44 at KGY. A look at the weather next. that's a more jazzed-up version than you'd... one more shot at it than what you hear on television, but it's done by the same guy who does the theme from Dynasty, and that is the theme from Dynasty, but it's a little livelier, I think, than the one you see on TV. A member of the Olympia High School band called me a moment ago, and he said, you ought to remind all the band members that they should remember to take their uniforms with them today because they have a performance. And I asked him where the performance was, and he didn't know. Kind of reminds me of when I was in the Army. You'd do things too, but you didn't know where or why. You just knew that you were supposed to be ready. Well, maybe that's the way it is in the Olympia band, too. Apparently, they're going to be marching today somewhere. You'll find out later on, I suppose. It's 6:47 at KGY. Mostly sunny today after morning fog. The high today in the mid-50s, low tonight in the low to mid-30s. Winds out of the southwest, 5 to 15 miles an hour. Chance of rain, 10% or less. Yesterday's high was 54, got down to 40 last night, and we had 0.2 of an inch of rain in the past 24 hours. The extended forecast is for more of the same through Wednesday, but a chance of rain Thursday or Friday.
Lacey Village Thriftway and Ralph's Thriftway in Olympia is where nutritious, economical food items for back-to-school lunches are always a matter of pride. See the proud crowd today. And take Capital Air Reporter to SeaTac Airport. Passenger service is 10 times daily. Direct-to-ticket counters from convenient local stops. In-city home pickup available, too. Group, family, and frequent traveler discounts also. Call Capital Air Reporters, Charters, and Tours at 754-7113.
For many illnesses, there can be numerous remedies. The prescription for your ailing health care coverage is much simpler. Thurston County Medical Bureau. With Thurston County Medical, the ailments in your health care coverage are treated with such features as participating physician services paid in full, over 120 Thurston County physicians to choose from, and reasonable cost for your coverage. For fast relief for your ailing health care coverage, take 2 moments and call Thurston County Medical Bureau today at 352-7611.
This is Jay Vanderstoop. The president of the Senior Citizen Lobby, Norm Scott, said, quote, Vanderstoop has shown a genuine interest in the problems and needs of senior citizens and has been very effective in working on our behalf, unquote. Who do you trust to tell you the whole truth about my concern for senior citizens, my opponent or Norm Scott, a man whose life is devoted to working for senior citizens? This ad was paid for by Citizens for Vanderstoop. Republican Ron Brown, chairman.
A marine biologist talks about Scoop Jackson.
The problem is the incomes and the livelihood and the way of life of thousands and thousands of people, and particularly in communities where fishing is probably the only source of livelihood. Scoop's role in this right now, I think, has been to see that the funds come through. I think he's been fairly successful. Look, we need experience back there. We need experience not just in the fish business. We've got to have experience in all aspects of the running of this country, and the Senate has a big piece in doing that. I've known Scoop for a long time, and I've known how interested he is in the fish business, but I'm not going to vote for Scoop just because of my connections to the fish business and what I think he's done. I think he has a much broader role and a much broader line of experience.
I'm Senator Henry M. Jackson, Democrat, from and for the state of Washington.
This message paid for by People for Jackson. Ron Dotzauer, campaign director.
Well, I've had a couple of calls from people telling me that the Olympia High School band is going to be marching downtown at noon today, and apparently in connection with the new noon edition of the Olympia. In celebration of that. 10 minutes to 7 at KGY. News in 10 minutes.
Some people can hold it together. wrong. 'Cause I'm not trying now to end it all. Let's start something new. It's just that I have seen too many lovers' hearts lose their dreams. We won't lose it. Some people are made for each other. Some people can love one another for life. How about us? Some people can hold it together. Man, all kind of weather. Can we? How about us? How about us, baby? How about us? How about us, baby? How about us? How about us, baby? Are we gonna make it, girl? Or are we gonna drift and drift and drift together? People are made for each other. Some people can love one another for life. How about us? How about baby? Some people can hold that together. How about us? Some people are made for each other. Some people can love one another. Some people can love one another tonight.
That was Champagne and How About Us? Don't forget, tomorrow is Election Day. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Bob McLeod, Ed Michelson, P.J. Kirkland, Barbara Smith, and Willie Kelly will have complete local, state, and national election returns for you starting about 8:30 Tuesday night right here on KGY. It's 6:54.
Rick's Trophy for Judge. A lot of your friends and neighbors think it makes good sense. People like Bob Barcliffe, Judy Armour, Jan Putnam, and Ralph Swanson, Steve Foster, Ed Scheller, Paula Hayward, and Don Miles, George Barner, Jerry Buzzard, Pete Knittel, Dave Seaman, and the list goes on and on. Hundreds of others ask you to join them in voting for Rick's Trophy for Judge November 2nd.
The foregoing has been paid for by contributions from those who are supporting the Rick's Trophy for Judge Committee. Paula Malloy Hayward, Treasurer, Nonpartisan.
Hi, I'm George Barner. Rick's Trophy for Judge makes good sense to me. When I'm not cutting records or budgets, I'm not asking my friends to join me in voting for Rick's Trophy for District Court Judge. Rick has served Thurston County well as a deputy prosecutor. As chief of both the civil and criminal divisions over the past 10 years, he has displayed the fairness and good judgment necessary to be an outstanding judge.
The foregoing has been paid for by contributions from those who are supporting the Rick's Trophy for Judge Committee. Paula Malloy Hayward, Treasurer, Nonpartisan.
Good morning. Today's Winner's Circle thought is on the idea of being open. None of us wants to live his life in a private room, closing out the rest of the world. It's the open-hearted, open-minded person who sees life as a real adventure. The person who is open to new experiences and sees them as a part of the growing process does not face life with fear, but with anticipation. You see, when we are open to life, we see the potentiality for good in others and in ourselves, and we love to watch it unfold. Nothing is gained by traveling through life in a covered wagon. This is Howard Caesar, minister of the Unity Church of Olympia, saying, you can be a winner in life.
Jennifer Belcher has a reputation for excellence, and it's a reputation she's earned.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Belcher. The 1981 and 82 sessions of the legislature were the most devastating to state employees of any on record. Bill Garson may have voted right on state employee issues, but he's part of the Republican leadership which introduced, passed, and insisted on those changes. His one vote was not persuasive, and it did state employees little good. I can offer you an alternative.
Paid for by Jennifer Belcher for State Representative, Democrat, Barbara Olson, Treasurer.
For the past 10 years, I've been working with people of diverse backgrounds in professional, church, and civic organizations to solve difficult policy and budgetary problems.
Pete Knittel, the qualified candidate for Olympia's City Council.
Making sure that city government is open and responsive to citizen involvement is my priority for the new city council. I've attended city commission meetings for a number of years, and I know that citizen involvement helps produce better solutions for tough problems and better city services that cost less.
Pete Knittel, a reputation for hard work.
Being a council member is just not an honorary position. It will take hard work and knowledge about city government to ensure that good services are delivered to you.
Pete Knittel. He'll work for your interests, not special interests. Paid for by the citizens to elect Pete Knittel to Olympia City Council, position number 6. Ray Miller, Treasurer.
Why should you vote for Wilma Rosbach? Wilma knows the solution to problems in our state will come with economic recovery. During the last session, Wilma sponsored bills to help the timber industry and provide immediate jobs in logging and sawmills. She supported legislation to promote tourism, to help port districts attract new industry, and to help cities and towns grow through tax incentives. Wilma works for us.
This ad was paid for by Citizens for Rosbach, Republican, Bob Thompson, Chairman.
Who's the best qualified candidate for position 6 on Olympia's new city council? Mason Manning. Why? Well, Mason Manning is a family man with 20 years business experience and a commitment to Olympia.
Paid for by friends of Mason Manning.
Campaign ads on this station claim that a State Department of Revenue report gave the county assessor's office a top rating. What you weren't told is that a more recent Department of Revenue report tells a different story. Taken from the public record, this newest report shows that of 139 properties reviewed in the last revaluation area, almost 3 out of 4 were overvalued by the assessor's office. Overvaluation means overtaxation. If you want fair and equitable appraisals, vote for Don Taylor for county assessor.
Paid for by the committee to elect Don Taylor assessor, GOP, Bob Soley, chairman.
No matter what the Republicans tell you, there is only one issue in November's elections: Republican mismanagement of the economy and Republican mismanagement of our state. The Republicans will try to fool you into thinking their failures don't matter or that someone else is to blame. Look at the facts. They promise not to raise your taxes, then slap you with over $1 billion in new taxes. They even tax the food on your table. They promise to improve government services, then cut everything from school programs to corrections to fisheries, over $1 billion less in services to you. They promise to improve state budgeting, then spent so much money that our state's credit rating fell, costing us millions more in interest payments each time the state borrows money. The list goes on and on. They'll try anything to make you forget it. But just remember what the Republicans promised you in 1980 and what they did to you in 1982. On November 2nd, vote Democratic in state and local elections.
Paid for by the Thurston County Democratic Central Committee.
KGY Olympia, it's 7 o'clock.
AP Network News. I'm Cynthia Hecht. There were few reports of injuries last night, but it's not because people did not try to harm children celebrating Halloween. The AP's Mark Russo says police across the country are investigating hundreds of reports of tainted treats.
Halloween 1982 has come and gone, with police in 24 states investigating more than 300 reports of apples and candy tainted with pins, needles, and drugs. Thankfully, few trick-or-treaters were seriously injured. A 13-year-old boy remains hospitalized in Columbus, Ohio. He suffered hallucinations after eating candy. A 5-year-old girl remains hospitalized in Somerdale, New Jersey, where 16 people were treated after eating candy that may have been laced with a street drug known as PCP, or angel dust. In Fort Dodge, Iowa, a 69-year-old man was shot dead as he opened his door Halloween night and confronted a man who said, "Trick or treat, give me your money or I'll shoot." I'm Mark Russo, AP Network News.
On the eve of the midterm election, voters are being blitzed with last-minute persuasion. President Reagan appears in a GOP campaign commercial asking voters to give his economic program more time. Ads by the Democrats try to convince voters the country needs a change. The economy and Social Security are issues that are turning up all over the nation, but it's clear that many races will hinge on local issues and on the personalities of the candidates. The Beirut beachfront was rocked by a bomb blast this morning, then minutes later by another. The first bomb exploded just 30 yards from a U.S. Marine encampment. AP Beirut correspondent Jerry LaBelle spoke to a witness to that first blast.
It threw metal everywhere. A Marine I talked to described it as a bright flash, black smoke, and pieces of metal falling everywhere. One Marine was injured just slightly. apparently hit by a small piece of shrapnel above the thumb.
A U.S. Marine spokesman says 2 Lebanese civilians also were injured in the first explosion. A Lebanese military officer says 1 person was killed. The second shorefront blast occurred about 5 minutes after the first. It set 3 cars afire, but no injuries were reported. It appears a settlement may be near in the football strike. If no new contract is agreed upon soon, it'll be too late for a season this year. And with that in mind, owners are examining a counterproposal from the players. The plan, put on the table in New York, reportedly is worth $1.1 billion. The union would decide how 80% of that money would be divided up. This is AP Network News. Makeshift settlements known as Reagan ranches went up in 15 cities over the weekend as community, labor, and anti-nuclear activists displayed their opposition to Reagan administration policies. Keith Jennings says one of the cities was Phoenix.
The Reagan Ranch in Phoenix is part of a nationwide effort to show the effect of the Reagan economic program on the poor of this nation. Ranches were organized this weekend by the community action group known as ACORN, and the Phoenix organizers say they hope to influence the outcome of this Tuesday's elections by showing that people are now being forced to choose between food and shelter. The ranches are an attempt to draw a parallel between the current economic situation under the Reagan administration and the Hoovervilles of the poor that developed during the Great Depression of the 1930s. Keith Jennings, Phoenix.
The Washington Post has published the results of a new study it says was conducted for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. It says an accident at a nuclear power plant could cause more than 100,000 deaths. A 1975 NRC study estimated that under the worst of circumstances, such an accident would cause only 3,300 deaths.
First it was in the newspaper, then it was on television, and now you're hearing it on the radio. Well, it's time that you heard more about the most successful promotion Capital Savings ever ran. The Capital Savings exclusive Money Clip coupon for cash. Capital Savings gives you $5 for opening your checking account to $20 for opening a 6-month money market certificate.
Money Clip coupons are available at all Capital Savings 40 Washington locations and now in northeastern Montana. Who's there?
Jack.
Jack who?
Jack Frost.
Jack, sorry you can't come in. Didn't you hear? I just had Sunset Air install a Carrier heat pump in the house. I was amazed at the professional way Sunset Air's people handle the job with no fuss to the family. And now I'm twice as amazed at how the Carrier heat pump is handling the job. We're saving a lot of money, and we're more comfy than ever. Say, Jack, why don't you have Sunset Air and Lacey winterize your home? Then you wouldn't need someplace else to stay. Here, let me close the door. Get lost. Goodbye, Jack.
Good morning, I'm Dick Pust.
And I'm Ed Michelson. In local and Northwest news this morning, an uneventful local Halloween, new denials from a self-described murder suspect from Lacey, and another round in the battle over Hawks Prairie development.
We'll be back with details in a moment. It's 7:05 at KGY.